Now that the finals are over, it's back to Knicks talk. And the NBA draft is coming up. There's a lot of hot topics coming around, a lot of off-season buzz. Here to give my thoughts on it. So I kind of frustrated myself for not making a video earlier about the Knicks draft. Because with all the trade speculation about it, I came into this believing that we were going to trade this pick. I never thought we were going to pick at 11. Shout out to Dang Father, he can confirm this. But I never really thought we could pick at 11. I thought we already had a lot of young guys. And where we sat as a team with having young guys and, RJ Barrett's a staple who I believe is untouchable in my opinion. I mean, no one's untouchable for the right price, but in a world where I don't believe people are throwing outrageous franchise-changing offers for RJ Barrett, I think he's untouchable. But when you have a lot of young guys like Obi Toppin, Emmanuel Quickly, Quentin Grimes, Cam Reddish, who we're going to allude to, Mitchell Robinson, Deuce McBride, Jericho Sims. When you have a lot of young guys like that, sometimes it's difficult to understand what direction you're going to go. And I just thought picking at 11, adding another young player to that wouldn't be advantageous for us. Seems like we're going to go with Tom Thibodeau since, we didn't fire him. We definitely had the opportunity to fire him this offseason during the regular season. So with that being said, with it seeming like, we're going to keep Tom Thibodeau in the fold, to me, it doesn't make sense to add another young player in that. And there's a lot of trade speculation on where we can go. Seeing some talks with trading up to 7 with Portland. I didn't really see too many trades that involve much more than picks with Portland. With the Indiana Pacers, we're at 7. At 6, Brogdon. I'll be out with the Pacers. I'll be honest with you, I do not want Michael Brogdon. Shout out to a guy on Twitter. I retweeted one of them. It's like, I wish I remember his name. I apologize. But I'll speak for all the Knicks fans. Like Malcolm Brogdon, he's a good player. Shout out to Malcolm Brogdon, Rookie of the Year. I was on the Bucks teams when they were winning, the 60-plus games a lot of times. Malcolm Brogdon can play, but I just don't think that he's going to push us over the top, especially when we're, trading a lot of assets and moving a lot of pieces around. I don't think would be a really good move for us. At 5, the Detroit Pistons. They have interest in Cam Reddish. They might also have interest in Mitchell Robinson. I'm not sure how that would work out. If they would want both of them, plus, 11 and something for 5. Not sure. We'll see what that turns out. I want to keep Mitchell Robinson, especially. I'll get into that later. At 4, they have a lot of speculation about us moving Julius Randle in a deal with the Sacramento Kings. But I recently saw something as well about them potentially trying to move it to number 2 to get Ivy. I'm not sure if we believe that at 4, he will fall to 4. Chet Holmgren, Pablo. I know I'm forgetting another guy. I apologize. I don't remember. I didn't do much research into the top 5 guys. It was just, a lot of it was just off eye test. What caught me off guard. Chet Holmgren, I actually been watching him for a couple of years now. When I look at Chet Holmgren, I see a guy that's, for lack of better words, I think there's no in between with him. He's either going to be really good or really bad. His game is really probably going to translate really quickly, or obviously he's either going to play well or play bad. But in a sense, so he has a lot of skill, but I'm not sure if it's going to take him a long time or not to quickly turn that skill into the next level. Will the size be a problem? It didn't affect KD. I believe off the top of my head, KD averaged 20 points his rookie year. He was 18 to 20. I know the field goal percentage was pretty poor, but he's a young player going through the pains of playing on the next level. But I think Chet Holmgren, especially depending on what team he goes to, I think he can be a really good player early. I do like Chet Holmgren. Like I said, I watch him a lot. He got a lot of length, got a lot of skill, can shoot the ball. I think he's going to be a really good player. I think I do predict he can be good early. I think he can fake team early. What was it, Homer? Anyway, but but yeah. So if we were finding a way to move up, I forgot what I was going with that. But so when I was talking the off season with shout out to Dane Father again, and we will have more Knicks recaps coming soon. I do want to wait till after the draft to get the full recap and prediction things like that. But when you look at the Knicks, trading Randall was a sticky situation. When I was looking at a lot of these mock drafts, like trading him to the Portland Trailblazers for just picks, and to get to 7, moving up only 4 spots. Trading him to Detroit, same thing. Sacramento's a little more iffy because Ivy could fall to 4, but when you look at trade, but my main point is when you trade up to, when you have a team in the box office like New York, you have to have players that are stars to put butts in seats. Now, granted, people are going to come because the fanfare is just that high, but in the sense that you got to have stars on the team. You got to have some name value on the team, and Julius Randle was really the only name value on the team. So the only way to circumvent, in my opinion, the only way we can get by trading Julius Randle for just picks and really like just for a pick in this year's draft is if it is a top 3 pick, because then you can sell people on the top second pick. We still got RJ Barrett. I said hopefully we still have Cam Reddish, maybe not. Hopefully we can just trade off like Alec Burks, Evan Fournier, maybe a Noel if we keep Mitchell Robinson. So we got a couple contracts, a couple guys that we can still move. Derrick Rose, that's a sneaky move up. That's a sneaky player that I'm not sure if we would end up trading or not. Very interesting. But to go along, if we were to end up picking out 11, I can't be too discouraged because as the young players that I named off having on our team going forward, this regime has drafted well. So, that is something to consider. I wasn't listing off guards. So Jalen Brunson is the elephant in the room. Let's talk about it. Jalen Brunson played well. I definitely respect the way that he, first of all, played without Luka the first couple games against the Utah Jazz. Once Luka came back, he found a way to still play well. Hit a rough patch the first couple games against the Suns, and then was able to develop. Regroup. Even though they lost to 5 games, played well versus a great defense in the Warriors, a defense that gave Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum trouble. So he showed that he can play. I just don't know if he's worth number 1 money. And if you're giving the guy, we're saying we're clearing $25 million for him, that's number 1. That's big time money. Now I know the way we look at money has to change a little bit because things keep changing. But giving Jalen Brunson $25 million a year seems a bit of a desperate move. Speaking of the Mavericks, they made the Christian Wood trade. That was almost going to affect us because the Mavericks have the Mavericks 23 pick. It's big because even though they traded the 26th pick, they're gonna do some trickeration to make sure that they're just trading the player and not the pick, so it's not gonna affect our 23 pick. I was actually really nervous when I first saw that trade go down. I was actually really nervous, and that's gonna be big for the Mavericks. Christian Wood averaged 19 and 10 over the last 2 years, 51% from the field, 38 from the 3. So that's pretty big. That's pretty big. He's a shot creator, can get his own shot. So did that trade make Jalen Brunson more expendable? Did they make that move knowing that they were going to trade Jalen Brunson, adding a guy that can handle the ball himself, get his own shot at a forward position, plus with a contract coming up? So he's going to be in a contract situation in the event it does work out. Trading Brunson or letting Brunson go, or letting him walk, or however you want to consider it, or however could open the door for that. So that is very interesting. Bradley Beal, is he gonna opt out? kind of over the place, but just, random notes from today in sports. Bradley Beal, is he going to opt out? It's going to be interesting. There's a chance he opts out just to get a bigger contract. You know how that goes. But if he does opt out, I mean, it could just shake with the market. I kind of like when big fish go out in the market just because not only do the Knicks just, get some buzz with the talking about them, but it just, opens up the market, give more options. Life's about options. When you have, more, sometimes it makes guys' price go lower because if, Bradley Beal wants a number, of course, no one can get anywhere near that. So there's pros and cons to it. Cam Reddish, when talking about it specifically, the Suns and Rockets have both showed interest. I want to keep Cam Reddish. I think Cam Reddish is a good player. We traded a first-round draft pick for him. And Kevin Knox. I'm never going to stop adding that. And Kevin Knox. Cam Reddish can play. I believe he can play. I think he has a high. I think he still has a high ceiling. He can defend a 6'8" guard that can defend, shoot the ball. He can pass well, create off the dribble. I like what he can do. It sucks to see that he didn't get the chance to really flourish the way it might have wanted him to. Because Tom Thibodeau, like I said, at times being an old curmudgeon and just not playing him just because he wants to see him earn it. Not saying that he shouldn't earn it, but you got to come on. We're going to see, and again, to piggyback with Cam Reddish, with Detroit Pistons being interested in him. Are they also interested in Mitchell Robinson? So a quick comparison to one that I kept, coming back to when I was watching the finals and the playoffs alike was Robert Williams. So Robert Williams signed a 4-year, $48 million contract this year. Well, recently, I'm sorry. I'm not sure if it was in the offseason or during the season. But he recently signed a 4-year, $48 million contract. So Mitchell Robinson averaged 8.5 points, 8.6 rebounds, 2.4 blocks in the regular season in 25 minutes. In the finals, Robert Williams averaged 7-7 with 2.8 blocks. Now, with it being the bigger stage, bigger things, and Robert Williams was injured, so we also got to consider that as well. With that being said, I feel like there's no way that Mitchell Robinson, camp can ask for more than that. And I know earlier in the year I did say that maybe someone's going to offer him 60, 80 million, maybe based off of use and things like that. But, I think I was just going off Knicks' fear. Really, where that came from was I remember when Joakim Noah was going to come, and it was a regular deal, a $60 million deal, and then out of nowhere, someone offered him claimed they would offer him $100 million. So then we had to come and actually do it. So maybe that was Knicks jadedness, because after watching Robert Williams play, I don't know how you can argue that Mitchell Robinson is better than him, maybe as good. But again, I like Mitchell Robinson. I really do. I like his effort. I wish he would stay a little healthy a little more, but that's life, part of the game. We'll see. We'll definitely see. With off-season. Kyrie Irving. So that's an interesting point I wanted to, leave it close to last. Kyrie Irving situation to the Knicks. Him and the Nets aren't working out. It hasn't fully came out exactly to why. I'm not sure if Kevin Durant has anything to do with this. They came together. Kyrie Irving did sign first, which is interesting to note, considering how things have turned out. But I'll be completely honest with you. If Kyrie Irving is a free agent and he's willing to sign and it only takes money, I think the Knicks need to invest in the option. Well, just investigate those possibilities. Because if we can add Kyrie Irving, like I said, it would give us a star. It would make it a lot easier to trade, Julius Randle to give the time for Obi Toppin to show. Because again, in my opinion, one of those two guys need to be off the roster. That's one of the few young players that, while it would tear my heart to pieces to see Obi Toppin go, in some ways it's like we need to just let this, bird spread his wings and fly. Because there's no reason that this guy should be not getting 30 minutes a game. And that's, Obi Toppin should be playing 30 minutes a game in this league. And that's on the low end. So, and then again, with Julius Randle playing primary 4 and neither one of them really being able to play center unless, the team is going really, really small. Which, who knows, maybe people develop their game, switch their games up a little bit in the offseason. That would be lovely if they did. But that being said, if we were to trade Julius Randle, move that contract, probably move another couple ancillary pieces. Like I said, Fournier's contract is very movable. Even the Derrick Rose if need be, Alec Burks. And then we can move in, get Kyrie Irving. And again, if he opts out, then he would sign. It would just be money involved. It wouldn't, have to give up any assets. That would be pretty interesting. I'll be honest with you. I would rather give Kyrie Irving $25 million a year than Jalen Brunson. And I don't think that's a stretch by any imagination. Shout out to PJ Tucker. He opted out. And the 76ers are already trying to move Matisse Thybulle as well as a pick to acquire him and offer him a 3-year, $30 million contract, which is actually pretty interesting. I can't quite remember what he signed for the with the Heat, but it is interesting to see that one, the 76ers said to themselves that the roster is already pretty much constructed for a champion, that we need to just add one or two pieces, which is PJ Tucker. They feel like that's just like the last piece to their championship. Maybe they think he can get the best out of Harden with their relationship going back to the Rockets and, personal. So that would be interesting. PJ Tucker keep getting the checks. Shout out to PJ Tucker. One time I saw him at a restaurant in Houston. Dab me up. Much respect. And then the Hornets looking to get rid of Gordon Hayward's contract so they can pay Miles Bridges. But shout out to Miles Bridges. I'm happy that I ain't even going to, shout out to Miles Bridges that everything is positive. We're going to keep it positive. Shout out to Miles Bridges positively. But that Gordon Hayward, people were saying that the Knicks should have gave Gordon Hayward that contract. What are they saying now? See what I mean? This is one of those things where I remember people coming at me telling me that we made a mistake not getting Gordon Hayward, and I couldn't believe it. This guy that was on the mend, the Boston Celtics couldn't wait to get him off the books, and then we should get him, didn't get it. But good thing we didn't sign him, and we're not living in that situation because now they're looking to add a first-round draft pick to get rid of his contract. So it is what it is. Draft coming up, it's getting spicy. We'll see what happens. Like I said, I hope the New York Knicks have a lot of. I don't believe they're gonna pick at 11. I think they're gonna trade it. I'm very, very confident that they're gonna trade the pick. I'll be honest with you, man. I got a lot of stuff coming out in the future that's gonna, like I said, show that I'm not, just being a prisoner of the moment when I say this. But I do think there are some ways that trading Julius Randle, like if we were able to move up to, like I said, the number 2 pick, get the guy we want in this draft, and then pair him with these young guys, and then, like I said, move money around to, acquire some, savvy veterans, that would, I can't say that I wouldn't be mad at that. And again, like I said, if somehow, for some reason we do end up picking 11, they say AJ Griffin is the guy that is big on our board. We'll see what happens. Got a lot of dookies, so we'll see what happens. I appreciate you. You can find my Instagram, Master Bruce, Twitter as well as Spotify and YouTube, Master Bruce CB. Don't hold me like you don't know me. Send it to a buddy. Like, subscribe. I appreciate you.